Hello everybody, Adrienne here, and today I'm coming to you with my first impression of Natasha Denona's Metropolis palette. If you've been following my channel over the last couple months and you saw my New Year's video, you would have seen that I am really interested in a lot of Natasha Denona eyeshadow palettes. Before, I just thought it was ridiculous that luxury eyeshadow palettes and couldn't really get into the thought of spending that much on an eyeshadow palette, but when her Love palette came out during the Valentine's season and it was $65, I went ahead and picked that palette up, and I liked the formulation so much that I decided to give the Metropolis palette a try. And the reason I decided to go ahead and start with that one, even though I wanted the gold palette, is the Metropolis palette is listed as limited edition. I would think as popular as it is and the response that she's gotten from it and how much people like it, that she would possibly make it part of her permanent line. But this is a 28 pan palette. This is the actual palette here with the patent leather, and it is not black. It is a dark forest green color. But this 28 pan palette, and I'm going to go ahead and open it, is got like a foamy type material here, and I don't want to blind you with the mirror, but this sheet here has the names on it, and it is attached to the palette. I'm going to leave it in my palette because I like having the names there, and I always keep my sheets anyway because I don't like dirty mirrors. But in case you haven't seen the color story, these are the colors in this palette, and I'm going to go ahead and flip it upside down so I don't have to worry about the glare of the mirror. This is her 5th anniversary palette, and her inspiration came from the 1920s New York type theme, is where she got the color story from. And I like that she's got it blocked like in your gold grungy greens, and then she's got the rust colors over here. Like when I open this palette, and she does have a way that she sets up her palettes. My understanding is that everything is set up to work like in a quad if you wanted it to in each section. I see it also split down, and not exactly half because there's a little more of the grungy shades than the rust shades, but this palette makes so much sense to me when I look at it. And if you've been following my channel for a while, you will know that I have stated time and time again that I don't like copper colors. But for some reason, when I see the swatches on other people, I thought that this, with the formulation, might be something that I would like. So I decided to take a chance, and I went ahead and ordered this palette from the Natasha Denona website and paid full price for it because she hasn't put this palette on sale at all or allowed any discount codes, coupon codes to be used for it. If you want it, as far as I know, as of now, you have to pay the full $129 for it. It just has not been listed on sale yet. So I was just not wanting to miss out on this palette, and I knew this was one that if I didn't get it, I would feel like I missed something and regret it. So I went ahead and took a chance on it and bought it, and I've had it for a little over maybe a month. And this is the first time I've decided to get into it tonight. I wasn't planning on filming my first impression of it. I was going to take my time and just do it by myself and enjoy the luxury of a $129 palette. But I really did feel like recording and sharing this with you guys tonight. So it's not going to be as formal with swatches and all that stuff because I just decided to pull it out and get busy with it. So without further ado, I'm going to show you how I created the look that I'm wearing today, and then I'll come back and give you my final thoughts on the first time of using this palette and if I would recommend it to you going off of first impression. So I will be right back. To get started with this look, I went ahead and did my eyebrows, which I'm riding the struggle bus on today. Right in here, getting the pigmentation to pick up over my eyeshadow primer, which is my normal MAC Prep and Prime 24-hour extended eye base, and my paint pot and laying low. And I am going to be getting fingerprints all over this palette because I just put lotion on so my hands are not ashy. I think I want to start out with these two first. So I am going to pick up an e.l.f. C brush. This is out of their cut crease brush collection, and let's see, I'm going to go in with this shade here. Picking that up on the brush, and it's going down pretty good with the brush, which is good because I don't want to be sticking my fingers in this palette when I just put lotion on. That is really pigmented and pretty. Feels really creamy as I'm blending it out, and I only want to go halfway across the eyelid. Now I'm going to do that step on the other eye. At first I was going to use this palette for the first time by myself. I was so excited to get it and felt nervous to film with it, and thought, oh, I just want to enjoy this off camera with it being such an expensive palette for the first time. But then I decided I wanted to share this moment with you guys and for you to be able to see what my very first true impressions are, because I did not swatch this palette or anything while I had it. I was waiting to decide if I was going to photograph it, and I decided I didn't want to photograph it. I'm just going to flip that same brush over and go into this next shade. I know that I need to probably be working on my Instagram account, but honestly, and I don't know how many of you guys are already following me on Instagram. To be truthful with you, I don't like Instagram, and I very rarely go onto Instagram at all. It doesn't really give me a good feeling being on Instagram. Every time I go on Instagram, and I don't know what it is, it makes me feel worse about myself. Like, just, I don't like the vibe I pick up from Instagram, and I don't know what it is. I guess it's because I don't know what to say for it. I don't feel like I'm hating on anybody when I'm on Instagram, but I just feel like it's not authentic, and I'm so into real authentic experiences with people, and it's nice to see some of the artwork, like with the flat lays and all that, and people's artistic ability, but a lot of times I just don't feel like I can really get a feel for the message of what the person's trying to convey, or a lot of times the messages that they are conveying are something that I'm really not interested in. So I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with the next shade, but I think I'm going to, this one looks a little greenish gold to go with the base shade, and that one really does. So I don't know where to go. I guess I will try with this shade in the crease just to see how dark it's going to turn up, and then maybe I'll have to go in with one of these. Back to what I was saying about Instagram though. I just don't like the vibe and the feeling I get when I do Instagram or go to Instagram. A lot of times I feel like it makes me want to buy a bunch of stuff that I don't need. Oh my gosh, this is so creamy, this shade right here. And it feels like it's just gliding across my eyelid in the crease. I feel like I want to try to buy a bunch of stuff that I didn't mean to buy, and I have purchased some stuff on Instagram, and so far everything from the ads that I've ever purchased on Instagram, I have regretted it thoroughly. It's been really cheap stuff, and I'm just going back in. Well, the palette's slipping out of my hands. I really went overboard with the lotion. I had some really cheap stuff, and some of it came in separate orders to the point to where I just canceled it with the company and told them I didn't even want it anymore. Oh my gosh, you guys. This is like putting my primer on my eyes, my MAC Prep and Prime, that 24-hour extended eye base. This feels like silk. This shade here, this cream shade gliding across my eyelid. And right in here is where my eye always gets the sorest. And I don't know why. It's this eye on this particular side. This side over here doesn't ever get as tender, but from all the retinols right here, I get dry patches, and it just feels like somebody rubbed it raw a lot of the time. And with this shade, I don't have any discomfort at all. It feels like I'm barely touching my eyelid, and the pigmentation is going down so intense. But back to the Instagram discussion. I'm sorry, this is going to be like so all over the place. Please try to follow me. If you can't, that's okay. And I'm just going to take this and lightly tap it up to the brow bone because I don't think I'm going to need a bunch of shades. This is turning out to look different than what I anticipated. And I really like just the sheer wash of color that it's giving me on the eyelid. But I want to be making content and producing content that you guys like. And because I do have a job and work so much out of town and with this coronavirus going on, I really don't know what's going to happen. But I just feel like I don't have time to create. Maybe I'll go in with this shade here. This one looks really matte. This one that I just put down that was creamy doesn't quite look matte. It looks a little textured, so I'm guessing it's one of the creamy shades. But I'm going to try to go in the inner crease with this. I don't know how it's going to work because it's not going to work at all because that is a lot lighter like what I thought. But to balance this mistake out, I'm going to do it to both sides. So this shade is a lot lighter than what I thought it was going to be. Let me put this brush down. I think I'm going to go in with this shade here that I was trying to avoid, because I'm going to need to darken up that shade that I made the mistake with. But yeah, I don't like it. And I feel like the only reason why I feel like I need to be creating that content is because I hear people saying, oh, you won't grow and your YouTube channel won't grow if you don't do the Instagram. And I never wanted to do Instagram when I first got my YouTube channel. I actually have a blog, which is just adriennecouvet.com, and I haven't been updating it and getting the videos posted on there, but I'm really thinking about just continuing to post my YouTube videos on there. And since I have so many products that I can't possibly get all these eyeshadows done in a video, I was thinking about and I'm just going back in with this red, not red, but orange shade here again in the crease. I was thinking about starting to just maybe take some pictures of looks for me playing around in some of these palettes, because it won't be as hard for me to just have a play date in some makeup and not have to edit a video and maybe just take some of the pictures out of there and post it on the blog and write some articles also, not articles, but paragraphs about what I think about a particular palette. I kind of would rather spend my time doing that. I don't know if you guys would be interested in following my blog also, or if blogs are just so outdated, but the Instagram thing, I don't know if it's just because I'm older, a lot more mature. I see mature women on there also posting content, but it's just not where I want to spend my time. And I've just been really thinking hard about it this past week as to if I want to be doing things to try to grow my channel, or if I want to keep my channel fun and exciting to me and do the things that I really like. And I think I really want to genuinely like everything that I do and the content that I produce. So about the Instagram, I'm on the fence, and a lot of it comes down to what you guys say and where you would like to see me post more on social media. But I'm kind of look at it and think, ugh, just maybe it's the stuff that I'm subscribed to. I like, and I'm going to go in with this shade here. I'm just using that e.l.f. Contouring brush for the eye to dab into this creamy shade, putting it in the outer V. I don't know. I just want to hear what you guys have to say about it. If it is a way that you want me to make content over there, I will do it, but I like making the videos. I mean, I've done some stuff with flat lays and I think they're pretty and all that, but that stuff doesn't really come naturally to me, and I feel like I would end up taking away from time that I could be creating videos for you, because I only get so much time off with working full time. So I want to make sure that I'm using the best of that time, and this is blending in so creamy. These are layering really well. It's different the way they're layering. It definitely is not layering like a powder shadow, and I was kind of concerned like how these different cream shades would layer onto one another, but it looks like they're all just meshing in with the skin and blending well. It's very soft, the look. I had no idea what to expect out of the pigmentation of these palettes because I know a lot of her cream shades are made to kind of blend into the skin, and you can layer them and they don't come out as intense once you put them on as what they look in the palette. So this may be a palette that I have to go back into once I get off of camera to intensify the colors, or maybe I'll just have a sheer look. I don't always have to have like the most dramatic look. I'm definitely feeling like this is something that I would enjoy wearing in the daytime. And one thing I will say, this dense brush, because if you haven't seen one of my last videos where I just did a first impression of the e.l.f. Cut Crease Brush set, I will post a link to that above so you can click on that and watch it. But if you saw that video, you heard me say like this contour crease brush packed on colors so dense and that it was hard to blend them out. But with this formulation, this cream formulation, it's just gliding across and everything looks like it's part of my skin the way it's going on. So I really do like that. Even coming into this inner corner, I don't know if you guys have issues with this, but sometimes right in here, I'll have shadows grab and get patchy right in there. It's just buffing it right in and everything looks so blended and creamy. And I'm going to put that brush down and go back with this one and go into, let's see, what shade did I use for that? This shade that I had, and I'm going to just lightly set this brow bone so it's not stark white, but I don't even want to try to put a lighter color over it. Sometimes I just like to barely make it darker with the shade that I've used as my base shade, but still leave it a little light. And then I'm going to go back in with this brush here and take some of this orange shade here and go right above where I put the shade in the crease so I don't lose that vibrant color. But I'm really liking how this performed. I don't know what exactly I think of the whole look of it, and just going back in with that e.l.f. blending brush to deepen that transition shade. And I'm about to bust out laughing that I'm using a Natasha Denona $129 palette with a bunch of e.l.f. brushes. Like, I just thought about that and it is striking me as really funny. It just goes to show when products are good, they're good regardless of the cost or where they come from. And I'm kind of interested in this shade here, but I think I'm going to leave it alone and do what I said and stay completely over here and just go into this one for an inner tear duct pop. Oh, that's pretty. It's really lightening it up well. I hope I showed that color. I don't know if it was in frame, but I just picked that up and put it in the inner tear duct. I am going to stop right here and do liner and lashes, and I'll be right back. So for my first impressions on using the Metropolis palette, I have to say this whole entire look that I'm wearing is not typical for me. It is out of my comfort zone. I typically don't do copper shades. I usually don't like the formulation of a lot of the different formulas that I've tried and what the shade looks like on my eyelid. So the fact that I opened the palette and the first thing that I wanted to try out was the copper shades instead of the grungy greens was a shocker to me. And this entire look is just really dewy that I'm wearing and really shimmery. I'll talk about some of the other products that I use to put this look together, but what I will say about the eyeshadows that I'm wearing today, usually when I record videos for you guys, it's a more intense or dramatic look. This is really neutral, and true to when I use the Love palette, those cream shades look like they become part of your skin tone. And as you heard me say, the intensity in the pan is not the same once you start blending them into your skin tone. But overall, the whole look that I'm wearing, until I put the lashes on, It doesn't feel like I'm wearing makeup at all. I feel like I just did my skincare routine and like I have a really rich lip balm on. And for foundation, I did go in with my ABH Luminous Foundation, and this is in the shade 430W. This product I'm going to do a review on eventually because I've had a few times to play in it, but this feels like a hydrating skincare product to me. And it definitely does have a dewy foundation finish, but I don't feel like it looks oily. And I went all out with my, even the blushes are super shimmery compared to what I usually use. I used one of my Tarte blushes in the shade Grateful, and I ended up mixing it with another one of the shades. I'll have it all listed down in the description box because I can't remember, because the Grateful was so shimmery that the balls of my cheeks were just beaming on top of my highlighter shade that I use from MAC, and it is Beaming Blush, and this one's a peachy gold shade, so I do like this a lot. So the whole look is like out of my comfort zone, even down to the lipstick that I use. I don't know, I think I said in my Sephora haul video, the last one, that I was going to take this Festival of Lights. It's one of the Lip Story lipsticks. I said this one accidentally got put in my shopping bag, but it is a copper color. And once I swatched it and tried it on my lips, I really liked it. So with this eyeshadow look, I went ahead and paired that lipstick. And I also have in the center of the lip one of those hashtag lip stories in Treat Yourself. And it's a gold shade, and I just popped that in the center to add some shimmer with the eyeshadow colors. And I think the look overall turned out so nice. And like I said, my entire face right now feels like skincare products. It doesn't feel like makeup at all on my skin, even on my eyes, with the exception of once I put on the false lashes. As a matter of fact, my face was feeling so good that I'd already recorded 5 minutes of what I was going to say in this part of the video before I realized I didn't have my lashes on. That's how good everything felt. I don't have that happen with my typical other eyeshadow palettes. As I was saying, as I was applying the eyeshadow shades, my eyes do get really tender because of the skincare products that I use, and I'm not going to stop using them because they prevent me from getting crepiness and the crow's feet around the eyes, and it makes it so that my eyeshadow doesn't look like it creases as much on my upper lid. So it's worth having tender eyelids which don't like a lot of working. So if an eyeshadow palette takes too much to blend or too much to build a color, it's a no-go for me. And I have to say that I don't have anything in my collection that's anything like the Natasha Denona formulation, the way it goes on. All these shades just look like cream on my skin, the way they blend in, and it feels like you're putting on eye cream as you're applying those creamy shadows. So I really like the way the metallic shades look on the eyelid. Also, they don't create any texture. It's just a smooth blend. Do I think this look is dramatic like I like to typically wear in my videos? No. But when I looked at this completed look, this would be beautiful for a conservative, everyday office wear type look. I would have no problem going out in this on a day-to-day basis. And for $129, and I'm going to open the palette again so you can look at the colors, I would rather have this, instead of being a dramatic palette per se, which I do think that some of these duochrome shades here, like some of these greenish golds and this shade here, I think these are really going to pop once I get into them and use them. So I think that that will be very dramatic, but overall for this type of money, I would rather have neutral looks where I could have a classy everyday look and be in this palette for any situation. I do have enough dramatic palettes that I wouldn't per se wear for a conservative basis that I can create glam looks with, but I would much rather not have this expensive of a palette so dramatic and glamorous that I don't feel like I pick it up every day. So I am happy with the quality of the shades that I use so far. Obviously, I haven't gotten into the rest of the palette, so I may just keep popping on here and doing different looks with this palette. I mean, with 28 shades, there ought to be so many combinations that I can do with this palette that it shouldn't really get old or boring. And to really know a palette and to get the most out of it. I would rather help you guys get the most out of something than to keep buying all the new stuff that keeps getting released. And being in the middle of this whole, and I'm going to set this palette down before I accidentally stick my finger in one of the shades, in the middle of this whole coronavirus thing, which I'm not really going to go into all this because I want this channel to be somewhere that's fun to get away from all the stressors that are going on in regular life. But maybe it's an eye-opener about what's really important and about cutting back a little bit and watching what we're spending and doing. I know in my household we're thinking about it. Fortunately, I am not affected by it. My husband is retired and receives his pension, thank goodness. And with being a nurse, I always have to go to work regardless of what's going on, natural disaster or pandemic wide. I'm going to be expected to show up to work. But I know there are a lot of people out there that are being affected by this with their income. And my heart and prayers go out to them at this time. And I think in honor of some of this, I'm not going to be taking on, besides my BoxyCharm, I can't believe I'm saying this. I did not expect to go into this in this video, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. I've got some other palettes that I have here that I have not showed you guys that I've picked up, so I do need to do another haul. But outside of like replacing mascaras, eyebrow products, stuff like that, which possibly I may not even have to do the rest of this year because of the BoxyCharm, me being signed up for BoxyCharm. I'm already on product overload, and until this stuff all calms down with the coronavirus, I think I'm going to stop spending on beauty products right now outside of what I'm already committed to with the BoxyCharm. It just seems like there may be some other things that I can put my money towards that would be more helpful to different communities besides buying more makeup that I don't need and that I'm having a hard time getting to. So be expecting a haul of some other products because I did order some things from C Color Cosmetics, and I'm not going to tell you a couple of the other things that I ordered. I want to be surprising you with the video on those things, but I really want to show you how to use the collection you have, or if products are really truly worth it over the long haul to buy, because this is not a good thing with what's happening, but I think it's really getting us to slow down and take a look at what's important in our lives. And with everybody doing the low buys last year and being so focused on all the releases that were coming out, I just think that I had already started to get a little bit out of hand, more so than what I wanted to be with what I've been purchasing for the beginning of the year. I'm not sorry that I went ahead and got this palette because it was something that I'd been wanting for 3 months before I finally broke down and got it. So it wasn't an impulse buy, but I am really happy to share it with you. And if there's any of the particular looks that you want to see created with that palette, go ahead down in the description box, not description box, but the comment section, and let me know what kind of look you'd like me to create with that palette, because I am totally up for suggestions. You will be seeing multiple different looks using this palette. I hope you guys don't get bored with the content if I'm using this palette over and over, but I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. You'll also want to hit the notification bell next to the subscribe button so YouTube notifies you every time I upload a new video. I'll see you guys soon.